All right. We're back here on Radio Row. I got Alex Bachman with me today, enjoying the Radio Row atmosphere, as you were just saying, bro. It's crazy out here, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Like this is football. This is
Yeah.
Super Bowl, man. Like it really goes to show like Super Bowl is a huge event. It's not just a fucking game on a Sunday.
It's the biggest sporting event in the United States every year.
Has
you know?
I mean,
It's the most watched event I think in the world.
world?
Yeah. I mean,
I watched it every year since
I
I've
see
been alive.
I see the most watched 100 events, and it's like 80 of them are football. Like,
Yeah.
you'll have a random Monday night football game that gets more views than the NBA Finals. So yeah, naturally the Super Bowl. I mean, you got people viewing it for all different reasons: the commercials, the halftime show, whatever. But I mean, football's the most watched sport in America. It's one of the reasons why I was interested in playing it. I wanted to.
It's the best.
It's important. I mean, everyone talks about their fantasy teams. Everyone's talking about what's going to happen on Sunday. I mean, at week in, week out. Everybody, once this season ends, you'll have your 1 month lull period, and then people can't wait for the next season. So
No, bro, it's
that makes
fun.
it exciting.
How'd you end up at Wake Forest?
Man, I give all that glory to God. I mean, I didn't. You know Trent Irwin. We've
Yeah.
I mean, because I know the Bring the Juice podcast. I know
Yeah.
the golf tournament you guys got coming up. He told me
Yeah.
about it. But so when I was in high school, like Trent was like the guy at heart. Like he was the number one receiver in the country. I wasn't playing like at all. I got no burn. I was pretty much designated towards defense.
Yeah.
I was a safety. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just kind of being an athlete back there. Receiver, I had proper coaching. I knew technique. I knew the route tree. I had a great release game, but I wasn't really given much opportunity to play at my high school. So all my film came from 7-on-7.
Wow.
It was all 7-on-7, and I had my dad. My dad would just kind of video me wherever I went, Nike camps, Under Armour Rivals camps or whatever. And so I was very proactive, and I'm like, you know what? I probably won't have guys showing up to my doorstep, so I got to go knock
I got to
on
go.
theirs.
Yeah. I go sell myself.
Yeah.
I was the same way. Yeah.
So I figured out what type of school I wanted to go to. I wanted to be in a classroom where my teacher knew my name because I knew my degree was important. And so, yeah, a lecture hall probably wasn't going to work for me with 500 people. I wanted a good degree in case, football didn't work out. I didn't want to play in the freezing cold. So I kind of had like specific schools I'd picked out that I was going to proactively go out and see if I could, get someone to bite.
Right.
So schools like Vanderbilt, I showed up at Duke, they offered me to walk on spot. Furman. The only school that really fit my bill on the West Coast was Stanford. They didn't really throw the ball. And so
No.
I wanted to go somewhere where I felt like I could get, targets and play and enjoy myself. And I wanted to play in a Power 5, preferably.
Yeah.
So I remember I showed up at Wake's doorstep. They didn't know who I was. A scout for the New England Patriots named Taylor Redd. He was an intern at Wake. He had been there for a month.
Okay.
He toured, gave me a little tour,
You went there.
Yeah, I knocked on the door. They
Yeah.
said, "Who are you?" Like, we don't know who you are.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, here's my 7-on-7 film." I had literally one-on-ones where I would go to these camps. We'd find the number of the player,
Yeah.
find out who he was, who his offers were, and then I would just say, Tyron Johnson has offers from here, 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 and this is me burning him. And that was like my whole area.
Fuck yeah.
And so I remember we left there, we shook hands, they said they would take a look at my film, and come to find out years later, my receiver coach told me that most of the time when someone shows up at the doorstep and they don't know who he is, they say they look at the film, but they don't.
They don't look at the film.
He happened to have 5 extra minutes in his day. He told me this my junior year. He happened to have 5 extra minutes in his day to glance at my film, and he could see how polished I was and just technically sound I was. And so they called me back immediately. I was on my way to Wofford. They said, "Hey, yo, you need to turn around." So we ended up coming back the next day. He said, "Hey, you don't have any film and pads. Where is it?" I said, "I'm not getting any burn. They're not letting me play." They're like, "Well, you obviously can play,
Right.
but we can't offer you without like pads or seeing you live in person.
Right.
So you have to come back to our camp." So I came back for Wake's camp. I came back for Vandy's camp. The Wake camp, I was doing really well. I won every one-on-one, caught everything, ran a really good 40, and then it got rained out. And then the next day we had to drive to Vanderbilt, and I was on the front cover of the Rivals page for Vandy's recruiting page. So the Wake staff knew I had done really well at the Vandy camp as well.
Right.
And about a week later, Wake offered me. I had 0 catches at that point in high school.
0 catches in high school, which you had to offer.
And I got an offer. And, I mean, at the time, they had just come off a 3-win season. It was a new coach, Dave Clawson's first year. And so I think it was just one of those things where, at that point, they were willing to take a chance on me.
Right.
Now, when I graduated and we were winning 7, 8, 9 games a year, I don't think at that point I would have been a guy they took a chance on.
Different circumstances.
Yeah, no doubt. And so I'm like, I'm not messing around with this process. I'm committed on the spot. You guys want me? I'm going here. I want to go where I'm wanted. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I mean, obviously, I didn't have a whole lot of other opportunities. So the door was open for me. I took it.
Wake finishes, and it's league time. Once you knew it was time to start locking in to go to the NFL, did you have a draft stock? Did you have a mindset of where you thought you would go? Like, how was that journey?
So I had like an up and down career, and then finally out my senior year, they kind of let me go a little bit. A lot of our offense ran out of our slot. We had a smaller slot. His name is Greg Dortch, plays for the Cardinals now. Great return man, but he had to play slot inside, so I was more of an outside guy. And it was one of those things where I didn't have like a ton of targets and stuff and a ton of numbers, but I had a couple SportsCenter top 10 plays, and I had enough to showcase my ability that I could play, and that I was reliable and dependable. I could play special teams, and so I had one agent reach out to me, signed Turner Sports, smaller agency. I didn't want to be a small fish in a big pond. And I told him I would pay for my own combine training if I would give him 2% for my career instead of 3%. So I Ubered in college. So I took 10 grand of my Uber money, put it towards my combine training. And then I worked at Mamba Sports Academy, Kobe Bryant's old facility. Yeah. It's now called just Sports Academy. But I had my trainer Les Spellman there, and I completely shut out. It was the most locked in I've ever been. I was like, I'm literally sacrificing everything I have for these next 3 months to give myself the best shot I had. Because at that point, my agent, I think, thinks really highly of me and thought I could go late round. But I was kind of thinking, if I'm going to go, it's going to be as an undrafted free agent.
Right.
So I timed really well on everything. I mean, I was getting up at 6 a.m. I would go to the facility, be the first one there. I would catch 1,000 balls in the jugs machine. I would do 40 to 45 3-step 40-yard starts. Just get that down because I knew the first 3 steps would be important in my 40. And then I would grab my breakfast sandwich and my smoothie, and then we would actually get into our day training, whether it was acceleration day, full speed day. And then we go from that to position work, and then we go from that to, it'd be about noon at that point. I'll grab my lunch, strength training, then we do cognitive exercises, interviews, whatever. And then I'd stick around until about 5, 6 doing recovery, massage, whatever. Get home, my mom would have a dinner waiting for me. I'd stretch, I'd watch The Office.
Hell yeah.
I'd go to bed at 9, and I would do the same thing for 3 months.
Locked in.
It was like, yeah, it was the most locked in. Because at that point, I had nothing else going on, all right? I didn't own a home. I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't have any other obligations. Now, as you get older, those obligations increase, So I just think back to that time. It was, I tell everyone that asks me, like, what my advice would be towards that period of time before the draft, and it's just sell out. Like, leave nothing on the table, squeeze the juice out of it.
I see what you did there.
Bring the Juice's newest partner is Profit X. Check out their app. Use code BTJ when you're playing. It is a peer-to-peer sports exchange that allows players to back their favorite team's money line or spread and earn real money. Set your own odds and get matched by other players. 100% legal in 39 states, including right here in California. Use code BTJ. Profit X. They're gritty. We're gritty. Fade Frankie D or hop on the train of success. I don't know if we're going to be hot or not this week. Bring the juice, get your piss hot. Profit X.
What was your first welcome to the league moment?
It was actually a good moment for me, actually. Okay. It was first day at OTAs. I was at the Rams. Like receiver coach, Yarbs, I was rolling with the threes, but I had already kind of asserted myself as a dependable guy. And so even though I'd only been there like 5 days before we jumped into OTAs, I knew the offense pretty well.
Yeah.
And so Brandon Cook's first day, calf strain. So it was Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp were our ones. Then we had Kadarius Hodge. We had Mike Thomas out of Southern Mississippi. And who was our other? We had one more guy was running with our 2. And so when B. Cooks went down.
Everyone slid up.
Oh, Josh Reynolds. Okay. So Josh Reynolds slides up. And now we don't have a number 2Z. So he grabs me off the other practice field, throws me in. And essentially it was 4 plays I had not heard of before. He goes, on the first play, you're going to line up on this side, run this. On the second play, you're going to line up on this side, run this. Third play, slot here. Fourth play, this. Do you got it? And I was like, all right. So it's red zone period. Blake Bortles is our backup quarterback. I have a back end line route against Troy Hill.
Nice.
And this is like my first day of live action. And I ran a back baseline route. I beat him on the inside. Bortles threw a dime over the safety's head. I caught it, toe tap back in the end zone. And that was kind of my moment where I'm like, I can play.
Yeah, I'm a dude.
And then the very next play I had a whip route, created like 3 yards of separation. Ball didn't come. Third play I had an out route on the right side. Bortles threw it again, caught it. And that was kind of a moment I was like, but we had Marcus Peters out there too. And it that's kind of when I realized like this is a chess. This is not just skill anymore.
Right.
Marcus Pierce sometimes would run the route for me, and I'm like, wow, how does he know? And I'm like, I have to put some creativity on it to make this look a little different, like a different route,
Right.
to keep him second guessing.
Yeah.
And it was going to go up against guys like him and Aqib Talib when I first got to the Rams. It was kind of like, all right, this is different. This is all IQ. In fact, Aqib Talib would tell some of our guys when they ran the wrong route. Based on the route concepts, he'd be like, all right, because the slot went here and the back went here, and he would kind of smack you on the ass and be like, hey, get back in your playbook. That ain't it.
Wow.
And he was right.
That's fucking crazy.
And that's kind of when I realized, I'm like, these guys are not just playing off based on reaction, but they know the game so well inside and out that you have to really come with a different approach every day in order to create some separation.
I mean, the attention to detail is something people don't appreciate, obviously. They turn on the red zone on Sundays and they're like, what's happening? They don't. If you're in it, you get it. Like, I can't watch football without watching film, right? Like, naturally, as wideout family, like, I'm looking, what's the slot doing? What's the outside doing? And the bigger wide receivers, they have their strengths. But for me, obviously, it's the guys like watching Edelman growing up where you're like, this motherfucker's doing this, that, and the other. Like, what's his release? What's his wiggle? And then you hit a tier, I think, where it's like, if you have chemistry with a quarterback and he knows what you're thinking and you know what
where
he's
you're going to
thinking,
be.
but it's so... People wonder why Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce have had so much success. Go watch Travis Kelce run routes sometimes. I swear to God,
Mix it up.
there is no route.
My best, most productive offense I've ever been in was actually Brian Dable's offense in New York. That's when I had my training camp. I went off. I had one preseason game where I had 15 targets, 13 catches. No, I had 11 catches, 13 targets, my bad, in one half. And I had 120 yards, and I kind of blew up. And it was because his offense from the slot allowed me so much freedom, and he trusts the slot so much that me and Davis Webb really understood where I was going to be based on the look that was given. And I had a lot of routes where it's kind of like, it's literally just a get open route.
Yeah.
If he's inside leverage, you can break out, you're open. If he's outside leverage, you can cut across his face. If there's a zone there, find the area, sit, ball, move the chains. And that's kind of what we did. And it was like, I loved it. And I was like, because I had so much freedom, I think, and that's, as a wide receiver, that's your kind of your dream type scenario. When you're kind of locked into a situation where, hey, your route has to be broken off at 12 yards, you have to get a real outside release on this, and you have
space on that. Yeah.
Now I'm limited to like the creativity I can put on my route. And so, yeah, those like we call them slot machines.
Yeah.
Guys like Jules, Danny, Dola, all those guys, Cole Beasley.
Cole Beasley's fucking...
You study those guys, you kind of realize, you're like, ooh, like, he creates a lot of separation here, but you also don't realize a lot of those guys have freedom, and their quarterback is kind of like, hey, if you get this, like, I want this on it.
Right.
And if you have a quarterback that the offense coordinator trusts, you're allowed to have that freedom as well.
Right.
And Davis Webb had been in that system with Brian Dable for 3-4 years, and there was a trust factor there where they also allowed me to kind of do what I needed to do. So I know we got Chip Kelly coming into the Raiders this next year, and you know everybody's speaking really highly of him. So I'm also excited to work with him and see what he has in store.
The Raiders, man. The Raiders.
Yeah.
Out of all the stops you've had so far in your career, has any place stuck out?
Yeah. I mean, Vegas. It's Vegas, man. I mean, the league is hard. The league is tough. It can drain you mentally. A lot of times you're in a new place that you haven't been before, in a foreign territory. So I just kind of think of it as, look, I was in New York. New York's a tough city.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with New York well.
Northeast is pretty ruthless. You know, you got blue-collared fans. You got Pittsburgh, Philly. I mean, these people, they go to work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday for Sunday. That is what they live for. I mean, I was in Philly for the NFC Championship game. That is their sports. That is what they live for. So when you're up freezing your butt off in one of those areas during COVID, like it can tax you mentally, especially when you're not winning ball games. So I think of Vegas like, all right, I love to golf. It's good weather year round. People constantly coming in, familiar faces. People want to come to Vegas.
Yeah.
Right? The money that Mark Davis has put into the Raiders, obviously the new stadium, the facilities are top notch.
Yeah.
The people. I'm a West Coast kid originally, so it's not too far from LA, not too far from Arizona. So for me, it's been a joy. We didn't obviously get the job done last year, but the teammates and it was some of the most fun I had in terms of just the locker room and the guys.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to having Pete come in and hopefully, turn the culture around, turn the win-loss record around, because it's a fun group. Not when we weren't winning, it was still a fun group to be with.
Right.
So I can just only imagine, like, if we're able to turn around, what type of fun we'd have, going into this next year.
Well, bro, I wish you the best. Godspeed. Got to get you out to Fresno, give you the full Bring the Juice experience, get you out to the golf tourney, all that shit. But
Yeah.
best of luck, brother.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.